Where am I? Oh, hey kids, it's Teacher Jay. Where in the world is Teacher Jay today? I'm going to give you some facts. I'll also provide some clues. You boys and girls have to decide where in the world I am. Now, this country is made up of islands, and not just a couple. It's actually made up of 6,852 different islands. If you like to sing driving down the road in the car with your parents, or at your house, or even in the shower, then you would love this thing that they do here called karaoke. Karaoke is where they have a machine and a video screen, and you read the words off the screen along with the music and pretend that you're the star. Now, if you like video games, one of the first video game companies, called Nintendo, comes from this part of the world. This country is very traditional, and the polite way of greeting is not actually shaking hands like you might be used to, but in fact, to bow. And the deeper that you bow, the more respect that you show to the other person. Saying thank you is a very important way to show respect. To say thank you in this country, you would say domo arigato, or just domo for short. In the culture here, it's very important for people to be clean, diligent, hardworking, and conscientious. And to teach a strong work ethic and responsibility, many schools here have their students help to clean the toilets, the school areas, and all of the classrooms. Fruit is one of the best gifts that you can offer someone here, primarily because very few fruits grow here naturally, making them very expensive. To slurp noodles in this country is actually considered to be very polite. It's actually a way to show respect for the chef or the cook who prepared the food and to tell them how much you enjoyed it. So fruit might make a good gift, and noodles are very tasty. But the food that this country is really known for is called sushi. Sushi is made up of rice, seaweed, vegetables, but predominantly fish, which is actually usually served raw. Sushi isn't just a food here. It's actually been elevated to an art form. Even though it's a fairly small country, it has a very large population. And most of that population is in the capital city, where there's over 36 million people, making it the most populated city in the entire world. And because there's so many people in this city, there's one specific intersection where there's over 1,000 people crossing the street at one time. Another place that gets crowded in this city are the trains. They actually have train pushers that help get people into every nook and cranny to fit as many persons as possible on each train. That would be really hard if you were feeling claustrophobic. And another place that could be claustrophobic is something called a pod hotel, where they stack many little pods together on top of each other, and it's a place where people sleep for the night. And another way they save space in this city are vending machines. In some cases, they replace stores. You can buy food, beverages, electronics, practically anything. Once you get outside of the city, there are many beautiful gardens and open spaces to see. And one of the biggest parts of nature that you can see is Mount Fuji. And you can stay in a traditional inn called a ryokan, which has a lot more space than those pod hotels. Every 6 years in this country, they have a very unusual festival called the Umbashira Festival, where bunches of people ride on these big, huge logs down a hillside, and it looks very dangerous. I don't recommend you try it at home. This country is actually known as the land of the rising sun. They feature it on their flag, which reminds me of a great verse from the Bible in Psalms, chapter 113, verse 3, "From the rising of the sun to its going down, the Lord's name is to be praised." Well, that's all the time we have today. Tune in again next week to find out where in the world is Teacher Jay.